And hello gamers, and welcome! As promised, today we're looking at the Steam controller. Now the Steam controller was designed by Valve not only to work with the Steam machines and Steam OS, but it was designed to solve a problem. That problem was, how do you play games, PC games, on the couch? Now there are solutions. Various companies have created various things like keyboards that can sit on your lap, and they have a tray on the side for your mouse, and this tray is pretty small. There's this thing called the Couchmaster, which is this big piece of furniture that you can put a traditional keyboard and mouse on, but none of those are elegant. I mean, the small one from Razer with the fold-out mouse pad, it's okay. Pad's small, it wobbles. The Couchmaster is pretty good, but it's big, it's bulky, it's a big piece of furniture that you're going to be sitting in your living room, and you might not have the room for something that large. Your only other option would be maybe using, little tables that you would use for eating TV dinners, and those are wobbly. And then you have the problem of cables. The USB cables, and then there is the wireless dongles if you're using a wireless mouse and keyboard, and the latency problems that a lot of wireless mouse and keyboards have can be an issue with gaming, because a lot of those are not designed for gaming. They don't have end key rollover, though your control options would be pretty limited. And so this was designed to address that particular problem. How do you play games on the PC without a mouse and keyboard? How do you make it possible? This controller was designed to solve that problem, and I think Valve has come much closer than anyone else ever has, because there have been attempts in the past to make it possible to play games on the couch in the living room without a mouse and keyboard. And none of them have been really elegant, none of them have really worked that well. This actually does. The Steam controller has a familiar layout. First you have the D-pad. This is a touchpad. Then you have the analog stick. Then you have the start and select buttons and the Steam button. Then you have the familiar layout of the Xbox buttons, and the second analog stick, which is another touchpad. Here in the bottom I have the optional battery cover that includes a space for holding the wireless dongle. The wings of the battery cover are extra buttons which you can program in Steam for any function, and all the buttons on the controller can be reprogrammed. Here we have a good look at the back with the two triggers, and there are also paddles. And here you have a good look at that right analog stick, which is a trackpad as well. So it has a very familiar layout if you're familiar with the Xbox 360 or Xbox One controller. Now, as I said, every button can be configured on this controller, and that is literally the truth. Everything can be configured. You can also set action sets. Now here are the default action sets for the game Atari Volt. That was the Atari game that included a whole bunch of Atari 2600 and arcade titles that I had made a video of some time back. This has built-in profiles made by the developer that supports all the different games that are in that set. Now these are controlled via an API in the game. Valve publishes an API that developers can use that allows them to automatically switch control profiles for various games on the fly. And it can change the configurations for these buttons and everything that they do, automatically. You don't have to go in and manually change all the settings when you change games. The configuration changes automatically for you. Now, if you set action sets before yourself for a game that doesn't have the API, then you would have to manually go in and switch them. And all of these are all changeable. Everything can be switched. You can change what these buttons do. You can change functions for the 6-axis controls, make things a trackpad. This is emulating a trackball, generic trackpad, move. This is move option. You can even set new options for the trigger buttons on the sides, the bottom, the ones that I showed with the battery cover. That's just one example. Now let's take a look at a game that supports a controller, but did not have a default layout. Here's Fallout 4's controller layout. This is one I made. On this one, if I hold down the button for the iron sights, I get these 6-axis controls for, more accurate targeting. I can move with the joystick, and you can set various settings for this. You can make it the left stick. You can change the settings. You can change sensitivity settings here, and there's optional settings. You can change how it works. There's a plethora of options available here. Change the dead zone buffering. I mean, the level of control that they give you is astonishing. And this is the haptic intensity. You have haptic feedback from virtually every button on the controller. Here's the button pad, and you can reconfigure all of these. If I wanted to reconfigure it, there's the gamepad layout, and I can reconfigure to all these buttons. Or I can reconfigure to something on the keyboard. I can do that if I want to. Now, or something on the mouse. I mean, it's all possible with this. It is all possible. I mean, the level of control and detail that this gives you is unprecedented. I've never seen a controller that was this customizable. And you can even change the rumble feature for this controller for various games to different intensities, different rumble styles, and it's not really rumble. How rumble works in your typical Xbox or PlayStation controller is you have two motors and they have an offset weight, and the motors spin the offset weight, producing the vibration. The vibration comes from actuators that are underneath the trackpads, underneath the buttons, and every surface on the controller. And these vibrate at a very rapid speed. They can vibrate at different frequencies. They can even produce sound at the right vibrations. Like if you set the haptic feedback to 8-bit, you'll get 8-bit like sounds, old Atari 2600 style sounds out of the controller simply by it vibrating. It's pretty cool. And the level of feedback that you can get from haptic feedback is very different from your standard rumble, which is why I'm saying that the HD rumble that Nintendo is saying that the Joy-Cons have has to be haptic feedback, because you can't get that level of detail from basic rumble. You can't. Now, to control a computer from your couch with the controller, which I'm using it right now as a mouse, you bring up this mode. And then you use this to basically control your game. Big picture mode. So let's go in here. I can manage the game, manage settings, launch settings, everything that I can do over in the regular Steam configuration. Here, the experimental Rumble configuration, I have it set to default. But I can set it to high, I can set it to 8-bit, I can set it to low or extra low. I'm gonna set it to medium high because I need a little more for that. And you can change all the options that you could on the regular Steam configuration page, and then you can navigate to different content that is underneath this game, artwork that people have uploaded, videos, broadcasts. This is just like what I was showing you the last time in the Steam video I did. And using the controller makes this possible to control. You can use a regular mouse, like what I'm doing here, and move around with this with the mouse and everything. But the controller actually makes it a lot easier to do, and you can switch. And go to Google, which this is the keyboard. You can use both trackpads. It takes a little bit to learn how to do this. With the on-screen keyboard, but it's not impossible. And that's how you would control your PC from, say, your Steam Link, or from another machine. Let's say you have a home theater PC hooked up and you have Steam running on it. Now let's say that it's not powerful enough to run games, but it's powerful enough to do video. And you can run Steam on it, connect to a bigger gaming rig in your bedroom over a network, and stream your desktop to that smaller computer using in-home streaming. So that's what the Steam controller is all about, and what it can do. I mean, this is probably the most powerful controller I have ever seen for anything. And this screen changes. This screen changes based on what controller you have plugged in. If you plug in a Xbox One controller, you will get a screen with an Xbox One controller on it, and you can configure the settings for it. You plug in a PS4 controller, you'll get the PS4 controller, and you'll be able to program all the buttons that are on it, just like this. And so you get a combination of Steam and the controller both, and you can play games with this that don't normally have a gamepad control, like the classic Baldur's Gate games, or City Skylines, or SimCity, or any games like that, or Civilization, games that don't normally have an option for controllers. And this solves the problem of being able to play those games on your couch without a mouse and keyboard, without having to have something bulky in your living room. So it's a pretty elegant solution. Is it perfect? No. Does it take a little getting used to? Definitely, this took me a little bit to get used to, and now I use it for almost everything except for FPS games. I use it sometimes for Fallout 4, but for the most part, I use mouse and keyboard for FPS games, and this controller for almost everything else. I'd say 70% of the time, I'm using the Steam controller. So, I've been Mike, and I hope this has been a little educational for you on what the Steam controller is, what it does, and maybe you get a better idea on exactly, what it's for. And thanks for watching. Hey, you looking for a gaming community that doesn't have a bunch of trolls and fanboys in it? Well, we got you covered. Gamers Bay's got the gambit of everything that you are looking for in a gaming community. Fair moderators, lots of activity, and no trolls whatsoever. Also, subscribe to Gamers Bay to get the latest updates on all of our latest videos. And remember to click that little bell icon right there and make sure that this box is checked. That way you'll get all the notifications for any and all new videos that we upload. See you next time.